So the man who told us everything we needed to know about the Wuhan virus, this COVID-19, is Stephen Greer. He is the man, Dr. Stephen Greer. And I always like to check in with Stephen because he was the first guy almost 6 months ago now. If we just listened to Stephen Greer, in my opinion, tens of thousands of Americans could have been saved. Stephen, welcome back to the show, Dr. Greer. Just always great to have you with us. And how are you this fine Monday morning, sir?
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, Stephen, really, I'm watching this. Everything you talked about is unfolding. Everything you told us about, casually, we have the drugs, Joe. The hydroxychloroquine. Oh, my God, don't take the hydroxychloroquine, the government says. Oh, my God, the press vilified the president for saying that. And they always go, the rates for COVID and the Wuhan virus around the world are less than America because they're using hydroxychloroquine, for goodness sake. And now I wanted to ask you about this and start here, Dr. Greer, if we can. New CDC report says 94% of patients who died from COVID had other health issues. And they're saying that the real amount, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Stephen, you know best, it's more like 10,000 COVID-19 deaths. What the heck is going on, Dr. Greer?
Well, yes, there was also an audit. I read over the weekend in Texas, they did an audit, and like 4,000 deaths were reclassified to like 100 as being truly caused by people who were sick from the virus. So the hospitals I'm not quite sure why. Maybe they were thinking they would get more federal funding or just erring on the side of caution. I'm not exactly sure why, but they were labeling everything as COVID. I mean, literally, even when they weren't even testing, even when they had no test results at all, they were calling them Wuhan virus deaths. So these death numbers I've stopped paying attention to a long time ago because we won't be able to get to the bottom of them without a big audit.
Yeah, it's so true. And then I said last night, I was talking about it earlier in the air, Doctor. I said, I heard on CBS News, there's 6 million cases, the worst in the world. Like they just want to cause panic. They want to cause panic for crying out loud. And these are cases, and most of these cases, people aren't even going to know they have the symptoms or the virus, correct?
The news is intentionally trying to cause panic to shut down the economy. It's flagrantly obvious. I mentioned last time, I think after this is over, and I think this scamdemic will be over November 4, there needs to be some discussions on how to prevent this, because it's not protected First Amendment speech to cry fire in a theater. And there's many forms of speech not protected, and scaring people with pandemic false news should be regulated somehow by, I don't know how, some sort of bipartisan commission or something, but this should be prevented in the future.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I said the news media should be responsible enough to do an investigation, and they never will. It's great if it comes from the government. Mm-hmm. Love to hear the president start that, because just to read here, and this is from the CDC, for 6% of the deaths, COVID-19 was the only cause mentioned. 6%, the report, for deaths with conditions or causes in addition to COVID-19. On average, there were 2.6 additional conditions on causes per death. They were just putting down COVID-19. And it was the Wuhan, it was not indeed the Wuhan virus, that there were 10,000 deaths. And they keep telling us there's going to be 200,000. And they're reporting it like it's everyday news. But not to take away, Dr. Greer, how insidious and how voracious the virus can be. It's contagious. You got to be careful. But just to be clear, and we're not giving medical advice here, but Dr. Greer, you're the first one to step up. If you have the symptoms, if you are elderly, you have the symptoms, the best medicines that you should personally, we're not giving medical advice here, that you would personally ask your doctor for. What medicines is that? Starting with hydroxychloroquine, correct?
Well, yes, early treatment is key. So if you get a sign of an illness and you're tested positive, then you treat it with dexamethasone, hydroxychloroquine, blood thinners to prevent clots from causing stroke, because the virus messes with the lining of your blood vessels, which then causes blood clots. And remdesivir and so forth. There may be one or two others out there that should be approved soon. And then later on, when you're sicker, say you're in the hospital and it's been going on for a couple of weeks, that's when you can start using the convalescent plasma, which is the antibodies harvested from people who've recovered from the virus. So convalescent plasma is useful once you get a little sicker.
You know, why doesn't the news tell us these things, man? And you tell us this. This is it, because isn't that good for the goodness, the well-being, the health of America? They're more concerned about taking down a president than giving us the correct. This is egregious. You know, this is the only show, by the way, and Dr. Greer, we can't tell you how much we appreciate your presence on this show, sir. Because I got to tell you, we're the only ones talking about it. Stephen! How did we get here? And then if you say something, oh, you're a wacko. Oh, Piscopo's a conspiracy theorist. It's like, come on. You got the answers here, and all we want to do is save American lives.
Yeah, I mean, there's thousands and thousands of people with a lot of education called medical doctors who agree with all of us, and they're being silenced by the propagandists on Twitter and so forth. So don't feel crazy. There's plenty of highly educated people who agree with this. The evidence is overwhelmingly on our side, and it's just the media. I was just thinking as we were talking what's more powerful than some regulatory agency is if you made it easier for Lynn Wood and lawyers like that to sue a corrupt media organization for scaring people. And if you could say, hey, this media story was incorrect and it led to Governor Cuomo shutting down New York, which caused the livelihoods of people to be, hurt and lives hurt. Just let the trial lawyers go after the media companies. That'll shut them up really fast.
I know that would work. The trial. It's like whether you're a lobbyist in Washington or something. The laws seem to be made for the lawyers themselves. And by the way, Dr. Greer, you were the one who called the Governor Cuomo's nursing home, and you called for this investigation. And apparently, there will be a federal investigation into this. Of course, the governor is fighting this. You said that there should be a federal investigation into all the nursing homes in New York, the deaths in the nursing homes, COVID-19, quote unquote, in New York State. Yes.
Yes, I was really enthused to read that last week, and I called your producer, and that's one of the reasons we're on today. Is it literally started right here. You can look at the transcript. So we were the first ones to talk about whether or not the nursing home deaths were caused by human error, and we were correct. But I specifically said to you and also to Rudy Giuliani, who was the former U.S. prosecutor when I was on Rudy's show, is I said, we need to get the Department of Justice to investigate this because it's crossed the line. It's no longer politics. This is manslaughter or murder, depending on the intent. They'll probably get a manslaughter charge out of it. And so after our discussions, the politicians, Steve Scalise, Stefanik in New York, Malliotakis, really took the ball and ran with it, really did a good job. And after weeks of tweeting and so forth, the DOJ is finally sending a letter to not just Cuomo, but his acolyte sycophants in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and New Jersey who copied his idiotic policy of sending infected nursing home patients back. So those 4 Democrat states are getting an investigation, and I just hope the DOJ has the courage to follow through. We've seen investigations before into Cuomo that got covered up. So something has to be done here. If not, think of the consequences. Think of the ramifications if this goes unpunished. It opens up the door for mass slaughter, euthanasia of elderly. That's what it does. Something has to happen here.
Dr. Stephen Greer, thank you so much. Thanks for keeping in touch with us. Please come back soon. We always appreciate your expertise, Dr. Stephen Greer. God bless you, brother, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Yes, Dr. Stephen Greer. He's the man right there. Jeff Van Drew on next.